All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. I love seeing all the people coming in. So much interest in eco-villages and intentional communities. Lots of faces I recognize, some familiar names. Don't be shy to turn your camera on if you're in a place where you can do that. Hi, Abby Lynn. Hi. Great to see you. Got Deb. Karen, a lot of new faces too. Well, hi everyone. My name is Cynthia, and you are here for our webinar and info session all about Ecovillage Tours, all about travel to visit ecovillages and intentional communities around the world. I'm speaking to you from the ecovillage where I live in. I live in a small intentional community here in Vermont, and Vermont is one of the destinations for one of our Ecovillage tours, the one that I'll be leading because I live here. Oh, Virginie, hi. Good to see you. Welcome. Excellent. Well, we're going to give it a few minutes. I see a lot of people are trickling in. So while we're waiting, I'm going to play a little video that we made about Ecovillage Tours, which is really fun because you get to see footage from our actual trips and some amazing ecovillages and architecture and learn a little bit more about our mission. So I'm going to share my screen and play that video, and then we'll get into some introductions, and I have a really rich presentation prepared for you. We're also going to go through each of the upcoming tours and talk about the communities that'll be visited on that trip. And I want to leave a lot of time at the end for answering your questions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and play this little video just so we can get warmed up while still people are arriving. We are eco-villagers in the making. We are Ecovillage explorers. We believe the search for a better world
Hey, do
is
you want to
a
see this?
full undertaking at this time in human history. We believe that ecovillages and intentional communities of all kinds are the best examples we have for what a better world could look like. Therefore, we want to discover, learn from, and support existing ecovillages worldwide. Ultimately, we want to find our home within an established community or a new one we help to create. But first, it's imperative that we experience firsthand the regenerative community models already in development. We need to hear the stories of their founders, share the inspiration we witness, and know to our core that another world is not only possible, she is on her way. Not only do we want to travel to communities, we want to become a community. We know the relationships forged among our fellow explorers is fuel for our individual journeys forward. Because ultimately, it's not about finding a better world, it's about improving the expedition and getting others to help join in the search. That starts with you. You are the better world. Now step into it. Join an Ecovillage tour today and help discover a better world. Great. Well, thank you for watching that little video. Hope it got you kind of in the spirit of what we're creating here at Ecovillage Tours. And that was primarily footage from our 2024 trips that we did in Costa Rica. So a lot of the tropical communities and beautiful ecosystems. Once again, big welcome to everyone who's tuning in now for our Ecovillage Tours info session all about upcoming trips, how to travel to visit communities, ways to do that more easily and affordably and stress-free. I want to give a chance for those of you who are joining us to put a little intro in the chat. I'd love to know what brings you here today. If you could write a little note to us, I'd love to know, yeah, like if you've visited an intentional community before, if you have not visited one, if you've come on one of our Ecovillage tours before or not. I think I see a few of our alumni actually in this session, so I especially want to give our alumni a chance to share which trip they went on and what they're thinking about joining future trips. So let's see. Emil, connecting, learn more. Haven't visited an eco village yet. Okay, well, welcome. Yeah, and while you're typing a little message for us in the chat, I also want to introduce another staff member who's here today with us. Mika is joining from Ecuador. Mika has been really supporting with social media and outreach, and she's going to be on today's call, especially to help with answering questions and just some support for us in this Zoom space. So Mika, you want to say hello?
Yes, thank you, Cynthia. Hello, everyone. Really, really happy to be here. So nice to be live with so many people that are excited about eco-villages and intentional living. And yeah, I'm new to the team, so I'm also learning alongside with you and really happy that Cynthia's prepared all this information and also at the end she's going to talk about each tour. So I think that's going to be really interesting. So please stick around till the end, and if you have any questions that come up during the talk, you can put them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer, or we'll answer them also more towards the end. But yes, really happy to see you all here again, and looking forward to learning together.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, and thanks to everyone who's putting in a little note here in the chat. Oh my gosh, Deb from Oregon. Beautiful. Somebody from Ann Arbor, Michigan. UK from Wales, Birdie. Okay, great. Welcome. I love seeing like the international crew that we have. Juliet, of course, from Canada. Welcome, Juliet. Fantastic. Very good. Yeah, we had around 200 people who registered for this webinar and about 40 people on the live. So it's so like special. Like really, I want to appreciate each of you for taking the time out of your busy day to be here. And we definitely feel the support and love. So even if you never come on an Ecovillage tour with us, just so glad that you are exploring eco-villages and thinking about ways that you can live a more sustainable, intentional life and also align your travel towards your values and supporting local communities. So I'm going to get in now to the main presentation. And as I go along, feel free to drop any questions in the chat, and we'll make time at the end, as I mentioned, for Q&A. So I'm going to make this full screen here. Yeah, once again, we're here to talk about travel to ecovillages worldwide, how you can do it more efficiently, affordably, and stress-free. And my name is Cynthia. My last name is Tina, and I am the founder of Ecovillage Tours. So I want to start by talking about my personal journey and, how I came to live in an ecovillage and run this company called Ecovillage Tours. It's been a incredible, incredible journey. I did not at all grow up in intentional community. I grew up in the suburbs outside of Boston, pretty mainstream life with mainstream parents who love me and support me, but still to this day don't entirely understand what it is that I'm doing. And I'm so grateful for their support and also for the life that they've chosen to live, because I think it's helped me be that translator between this new world, this new culture that we're all beginning to explore and build and create, as well as business as usual and life in the mainstream. Like I have a younger sister, she's totally climbing that corporate ladder. She's doing the city life. She's into all of that and she's happy with that lifestyle. And I'm glad I'm able to translate the choices that I've made to her and help make it just a little bit more accessible. Because I don't need to get into all of you the challenges in the world that we're facing right now. I'm trying less and less to watch the news these days because every time I do, it's like, oh no, no. It just feels like from political situations to economic crises to sustainability and environmental issues to loneliness, which is a huge problem and has been even before the COVID pandemic. Just really people feeling isolated and disconnected from each other, from neighbors, from place, from a feeling of belonging. And those are all the things that I have found through my visits to ecovillages and intentional communities. So at this point, I've been very fortunate that I've gotten to travel to visit over 200 ecovillages and intentional communities around the world. It's been the journey of a lifetime seeing these different examples, inspiring models for how we can live more connected with each other and place and nature. Um, People are doing it. And I think that's the inspiring thing about these trips that we're offering is that we're showcasing ways that people have actually done it. They've gotten out of the mainstream rat race rigmarole and have intentionally created a different way of life together. This is my home. I live at an eco village here in Vermont, as I mentioned. And this is the community where I landed about 5 years ago after more than a decade of travel, visiting communities and getting super deep into the movement, being kind of this nomad person, wandering and learning. And I felt it was time to put down roots. And I love Vermont. This is where my family has also landed. So it's been nice to be close to my parents who have retired nearby and get to live day in and day out in this beautiful community. We are 8 households on 15 acres. This is a photo of our big garden where we grow nearly all of our vegetables, at least. Like I only eat vegetables that I grow or grow in our community garden. So it feels so good to eat all this nourishing food from the land. This, of course, is the summer photo, and then you have here the winter photo because we have very strong seasons here in Vermont. My community is unique in that when you join, you build your own house. So everyone who lives in our community, when they join, they buy their little piece of land and they build their house. In addition to the land that we own communally that has our big garden and a pond, sauna, 2 greenhouses. Really awesome to have access to all that and the support to build a house. So this is a photo of my home that I've been building for the last 5 years and still am building because I'm, of course, choosing to do a lot of it by hand using natural materials. Right now, we're focusing on doing the clay and lime plaster on the walls. So as I've begun to slow down, travel less, deepen into my community, I've also deepened into a strong desire to give back for all that I have experienced through my travels and lessons learned. And that was a main motivator for starting Ecovillage Tours. So I began Ecovillage Tours actually at the end of 2019. Not the best time to start a travel company, yeah? So we made it through the COVID years and then started in 2022 offering some of our first trips to visit communities. Because what I learned through my journey was how difficult it can be to get a foot in the door with some of these communities. For example, where I live, we're a very small residential community. We got a lot of families and kids, and we're living this amazing eco-village life, but we're not set up to be a tourism destination. We're not really set up to receive visitors well. So even to visit a place like where I live, and there's many communities like this, it can be difficult unless you have a friend who already lives there. So what I wanted to be was that friend for you. I wanted to be the person that can connect you with these incredible eco-villages, intentional communities, and be sort of this guide to bring you through the door and have you meet the people and get your feet on the ground, shake the hands, have a meal with residents, really experience for yourself what this whole movement is about, and find out if there's a community out there you want to join or maybe even you want to start. So I'm doing this work myself and through all of these incredible guides that we've partnered with. We thus far have led 10 trips in 5 countries with over 100 participants working in partnership with 12 local guides. So the guides we work with live in the regions where we have these tours happening. And it's just been phenomenal to actually be that bridge and help people visit communities. Because you can visit communities on your own, and we're going to talk a lot about that during our presentation. We're going to talk about how you can, as a solo person, go and visit some of these communities and steps and strategies to do that. And we're also going to be talking about the benefit of doing it in an organized way with a group and with an experienced guide. So, real quickly, who is this for? This is a photo of the group we had on our Hawaii Ecovillage tour in January. I love this photo, and actually the photo extends, but I cropped half of it off to make it fit on the slide. But we had a really diverse group, and I think that's true on nearly all of our trips. We have elders, we have little kids, we have everyone in between. Actually, Carla here, I think she's been on 2 or 3 of our trips, and she's in her late 70s, early 80s, and she's just rocking it, visiting these communities, loving it. We've had people who have joined our trips and gone on to actually live in some of the communities that they have visited, or even form lifelong friendships with each other. Actually, on our very first Ecovillage tour, the one we had in Slovenia, we had a couple, well, they weren't a couple, they were totally, separate people who came on the trip and got together, and now they're getting married. So I love that diversity and the ways in which the trips have built these connections. Primarily, we get a lot of people joining our trips who are interested in intentional communities. Mostly, though, people who are quite early in that journey and aren't even sure if this is the right thing for them, aren't quite sure they're ready to join a community or could make that leap, or unsure even, what that transition process would look like. And so they come on a trip just to get exposure. They want to travel in a more values aligned way. They feel maybe even overwhelmed by all of the different options out there. Because keep in mind, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of intentional communities and eco-villages just in the United States. And then globally, we're talking tens of thousands. And a lot of times, these projects are difficult to find on your own online. You can find like the big ones that have a stronger brand presence and marketing team, but a lot of the small communities don't have that. And so it can be tricky to know, well, which one's right for me and where should I go and visit? As I mentioned before, a lot of people who join our trips do envision themselves either finding an existing community to join or helping to start a new community, either with land that they already have or a group they already have, or just with a crazy dream and they want to connect with other founders to find out how to make it possible. And also, this is for you if you're really feeling like you need a network of support to take the next step forward. Like if you look on this Zoom call today, we have 40 plus people who have joined this Zoom call because they're interested in eco villages, interested in intentional communities, And a lot of us don't have access to that kind of network in our daily lives. Like I shared my story of my family not really being that network of support that I needed to get into this lifestyle. And so I had to go out there and find it myself and build those relationships. So this is a critical way for you. If you're feeling like you don't have people around you who get it, you'll get people through traveling and visiting communities. And that's, of course, really a critical part of it because you don't need to figure it out all alone. There is paths that have been laid before you for how to walk the steps from where you are now towards living a more sustainable, connected life. And that's what we've created at Ecovillage Tours. We've really designed a way to fast track your community search process. We want to save you years of guesswork. You don't have to do all the travel that I did for over a decade, 200 plus communities. We've packaged that for you in a really accessible way so that you can pinpoint where you want to go, the experiences that you want to have, and more efficiently explore a diversity of community models. I'll share a quick story here of Sebastian, who was a participant on our Costa Rica tours this past winter. And he came into the trip telling us he was thinking of moving with him and his family. He has a wife and two children, and they were thinking of joining a community in Costa Rica. And they had some ideas of which one it might be, but they felt really unsure about taking that leap without first looking at a diversity of other options in the region. So that was the primary reason that he came on the trip. And I'm very happy to share that he is now the newest member of Alegria Ecovillage, which is a beautiful community in Costa Rica. And he said, like, yeah, like this trip doing an eco-village tour gave him the confidence to then know that this was the community that was the right fit for him and his family. So that's what we're envisioning here with these trips. Most of our trips are only 1 to 2 weeks long. That's not enough time to necessarily decide on your forever home, but it is enough time to get that confidence to then you decide where you want to invest more in exploring, invest more in spending more time visiting or volunteering, investing more of your energy and resources, as well as getting access to leaders in the eco-village movement. So especially for those of you who are thinking of a eco-village project, starting a new community, this is going to give you exposure to some of those people who are actually doing it, who have created new communities, residents like myself and many others who live already in eco-villages. And of course, time out of your busy normal life. Like I think we all need a little break from the chaos and the all the things to take care of, bills to pay, cats to feed, life to manage at home, to go on a journey and really get a little bit of headspace for yourself to focus on your life and the next steps that you want to take forward. So come solo, leave with community. That's what we're really here to offer is you come on this trip. Many people say they come to visit different communities, but they end up leaving with a community, both of the group that they travel with, as well as the connections they make in the places that we visit. So I'm gonna break down a little bit how this works, like how our Ecovillage Tours process would work for you. The first step would be choosing a tour, and we're gonna talk about the different options that we have. We have a beautiful calendar coming up for the next 12 months, so I'm gonna go through the different options here shortly. The next step would be placing a deposit to reserve your spot on the trip. And that deposit we're going to talk about here soon. We're going to like get way deep with you into the finances of all of this. But that deposit is fully refundable and also transferable until 60 days before departure. We always have a pre-trip call with your group before you actually depart, where we support you, make sure you're all set with the travel. Then there's actually going on the trip, traveling there, and all of the learning and connection that happens during the trip, as well as the ways you stay connected. So we have a very strong alumni network. As I mentioned, over 100 people who have joined our trips before, and we really work hard to stay connected with them and help them stay connected with each other so that we can kind of become this, yeah, global loose community of people who are traveling and exploring ecovillages. All right, so I'm going to get a little deeper into the different trips by talking about more specifically what is included. What really is an Ecovillage tour? What will you get out of the experience? We really cover everything during the trip. So all of your meals, lodging, transportation, guiding, it's all the logistics are taken care of. Sometimes people will write to us questions like, if I come on your trip, will I really sleep in a real bed? Like, do eco-villages have proper accommodation? And the answer is absolutely very comfortable lodging that is more eco, yeah, so it's more geared towards being sustainable with natural building, but is a very comfortable experience, often within the communities that we visit. Sometimes a community might be too small, and so we'll choose to stay at a nearby eco lodge or hotel that is, a small family business, trying to support local businesses whenever possible. The food is a top highlight on all of the trips. Very organic, local meals, usually food grown within the communities that we visit. Each day includes a visit to a different community, and we invite the communities not only to give us tours, to have a meal with us, but to offer a workshop or a learning experience around something that they specialize in. So some communities, it'll be group decision making. Some communities, it'll be how to grow food using permaculture techniques. Some communities, it may be something around natural building. So we're really designing these trips to also be an educational experience, plus visiting local nature and cultural attractions. Because I know some of you, if you're traveling all the way to Costa Rica or India, you want to see a little bit of what's happening outside of the communities as well. And we've designed all this so that you can relax and enjoy the experience versus traveling on your own. You got to figure out, where am I going next? Oh my gosh, am I going to be on time? How do I get myself from point A to point B? No, you can relax because we have taken care of that for you. All right, I'm going to talk now about finances and economics for all of this because I know that affordability is a huge question right now. Honestly, it's a huge question movement wide. Like, how can we make eco-village living, community living really affordable for people who need it to be affordable for them to make that transition? So I'm here to tell you that it is absolutely possible. We have people from a whole variety of economic statuses and backgrounds, and I'm going to talk about different strategies you can take to visit communities on your own, as well as join one of our tours in an affordable way. So first off, I want you to think about these trips as an investment in yourself and your journey forward, to think about how much time and energy it would take you, like myself, over a decade, 200 plus communities. You can only imagine how much time and energy that investment took. And this is a way that you can invest in a shorter trip to still get all of those benefits of visiting a diversity of places and actually save costs versus going at it solo. We have created a really wonderful scholarship program and work trade spots that are available on all of our tours if you think that that's something that you really need, as well as payment plans for all of our trips. So with any of these strategies, planning ahead is key. So that's why you're on today's webinar, because this webinar is happening just a few days before our super early bird sale ends. So we have a super early bird sale going on for all of our winter trips. So you're already doing it. You're already planning ahead by being on this webinar and thinking about if this is something that you want to go forward with. I'm gonna now show you some of the actual numbers here. So right now, as I mentioned, the super early bird rate for our trips is around $200 to $250 a day, and that depends a lot on which trip and where you're thinking of going. After the super early bird, we get into our early bird pricing and then our normal pricing that happens much closer to when the trip is happening. So when you join at the super early bird rate, you can take advantage of a very flexible payment plan that's available for all of the trips. So for example, our India trip, we have a $500 deposit. That's what you put down to lock in that super early bird pricing. And that 500 deposit is fully refundable. So if you change your mind and you're like, actually, I signed up for this crazy Ecovillage tour in India and I don't think it's going to work for me, no problem. We just refund that to you. And it's also transferable. If you give it some thought and you realize that actually I want to go on a different trip, I want to go instead of Costa Rica in the Guanacaste region, I want to go to the central region. We can really easily do that transfer for you. And then you get to break up your payment however you want over many months. Like the India trip isn't happening for another 8 months. So you could break it up into really small payments over time. And we're happy to customize that with you because we want to make sure that if this is like your dream and you want to go visit intentional communities, you want to have this immersive, transformative travel experience, talk to us about how we can make that happen. Where does the money go? Okay, so we get asked this question a lot because, for some people these tours do seem really expensive, even though I've been told by many people that we should be charging more for the value that we provide. But nonetheless, I'm going to break it down for you here because this is not something that we're doing to make a profit. Nobody's getting rich off of these trips. Most of them were running very break even, and when we do have money left over, we are reinvesting back into producing more trips. As I mentioned, we have the scholarship program. So a little fraction of each of the dollars that go into a full price trip go back to support people who cannot afford. Students, low income folks, youth. We're really focused on making these trips accessible even for them. We have a small amount that goes to admin and marketing, and the marketing is essential. Like Mika introduced herself at the beginning here, and she's been helping with spreading the word about these trips. It's not only the people who go on the adventure, it's also the impact that we can make through telling the story of the journey and sharing more about ecovillages. Community support is the biggest chunk because all of our trips, we actually pay the communities where we go visit. Sometimes people are surprised by that. They don't really understand that going on a trip, you're directly supporting the eco villages as well. It's not like our organization, we support them because they're the ones who are providing the experience. And then the tour guides, I've already mentioned, but we work with some phenomenal tour guides who are themselves experts in this field. And then all the normal stuff that you would have to pay for on your own, meals, lodging, transportation. Transportation's really big, by the way. Like we typically for all our trips will rent vans. So usually 9-seat passenger vans so we can be a little bit more mobile and bring people around and get on those bumpy roads to the eco village. So that's a big expense right there. And I wanted to share with you the breakdown so you have a bigger understanding. And obviously there's not a wedge here for profit yet, although we hope over time to continue to grow the organization and become a venture that can be self-sustaining for our organization and the communities that we support. All right, so I'm going to share next about our tour lineup and all of the trips coming up for the next entire year. I want to share with you though, even though you're going to see this calendar for the next year, we've been planning all this more than a year in advance. Usually we start developing a tour usually anywhere between 12 to, I would say, 8 months before we actually even announce it to the public and then do all the, registration. And it starts when a community or a tour guide reaches out to us saying they really want to do a trip. Or some of you say, hey, I'm really excited about going on a trip in this location. And then we begin this very deep research process of partnering with local guides, interviewing them, vetting them. Then they help us make the connections with local communities who we continue to vet and research and collaborate with to craft an itinerary to then ultimately get that on the website and make it open for registration. So this is a peek into what's coming up for all of our next tours. I'm so excited to share with you this full calendar. And you may even want to take a screenshot right now. We will send out this recording and the slides so you can look through them again later, but it might be helpful just to take a screenshot here so that you have this calendar up and available. And I'm going to go through each tour, but right now I just want to give you a snapshot of the dates. So coming up here pretty soon is our Vermont tour in July. Later this autumn, mostly in October, we have our Italy trip. Actually, this photo here, you can see this is a photo of Torre Superiore, which is one of the eco-villages that we'll visit in Italy. It's one I've gotten to visit before. It's actually a 13th century stone village that was abandoned. And then eco-villagers re-inhabited it and turned it into this like amazing like architectural wonder with arches and tunnels and passageways. So, so cool. So that is the Italy trip coming up. We're going back to Hawaii, back to India, and back to Costa Rica this winter. Bali is going to be a new venture for us, a new location. So we've partnered with a wonderful woman who herself has started an eco village in Bali, and she's been a great partner for developing that trip. And then Costa Rica, as you can see, we have 4 different options in Costa Rica because we've been going to Costa Rica now. This will be our 3rd year. And each year we usually do 2 trips. But this year we were like, oh my gosh, these trips are just, they're kind of selling out even 2 months before they happen. So the demand is there. People really want to explore what's happening with Costa Rica. There's more than 30 communities. So we easily filled these 4 trips, which we've designed around a different geographical zone. So you can explore the central region in Costa Rica, southern Caribbean, and the Guanacaste region. And each of those trips will visit different communities. Okay, so those are the dates, and we're looking at the calendar. These are all the trips we're going to be offering between July through April next year, 2026. And actually, this week we have a group going on our France trip, and next week starts our Portugal trip. So those are trips that are happening kind of as we speak, and registration is closed for those now. So we're just looking ahead at the next 12 months of tours. So you can plan ahead, right? That's what it's all about. Okay, I'm going to highlight for you now, once again, those special offers because I've been mentioning them, but I just want to make sure it's really clear for you. This Monday, so Memorial Day, if you're in the United States, this Monday, May 26th, that is when the super early bird sale ends for all of our winter trips. So I'm going to go back to the previous slide. That is starting with our Hawaii trip. So in January 2026, going down. All of those tours, I think there's 7 of them in total. Those are all within the super early bird window now. And that means you can get up to $1,200 off the normal price that those trips are normally offered at. And all it takes is a $500 deposit, lock in that lower rate. You can change your mind later. Then on Sunday, June 8th, that's when the early bird ends for Italy trip. So I'll go back once again. So the Italy trip, September 30th to October 9th. If you're interested in that one, visiting the beautiful Torre Superiore in this photo, that will end on Sunday, June 8th, the early bird window for that. And then our Vermont trip, the trip that I'm leading here at my home turf, that trip is already mostly full. We do have a few spots left, and we will be closing registration for that one on July 1st. So even if you just want to mark your calendar July 1st, that's kind of your cutoff if you're thinking of joining the Vermont trip. Okay, so once again, mark your calendars, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do to make sure you don't miss these dates. And lastly here, I'm going to kind of summarize it for you about why go on an Ecovillage tour. Really, we are the only, as far as I know, unless somebody else is doing something similar, you let me know, the only transformative travel experience that combines curated community visits with expert guidance and support, all-inclusive meals, transportation, lodging, an experience where you can both be learning but also have a vacation, I guess, like a sustainable tourism experience where you can invest in a trip that's going to be as enjoyable and connecting as it is educational and truly get that connection with community so that you can feel more supported in exploring, yeah, the more regenerative future I think that we all want. All right, your next steps: reserve your spot, place that deposit May 26th for all of our winter tours. We do also have a link if you want to book a free call with one of our team members, Rebecca. Rebecca is amazing. She's been on a bunch of our trips. She's really helpful for helping people determine if it's the right fit for them, which tour would be a good fit. So Mika is going to go ahead and drop that link into the chat as well. If you're just want to talk to somebody, Rebecca is your person for that. Okay, so, oh my goodness, I've been doing a lot of talking. I'm gonna shift here now and get into talking about each of the tours and the different eco-villages. But we're gonna take a mini break and see if there are any questions at this point, any burning questions. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'm gonna remove my spotlight for a moment so we can take a peek here. Oh my gosh, so much been happening in the chat. Aw, thank you guys. Really appreciate all the support. Yeah, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. Yeah, that's the goal here. It's actually my first time doing one of these webinars about like all our trips. I think I might do them more often. Okay, so any questions right now? If you want to put in the chat, want to wave your hand,
I
anything?
have a question about eco villages in general because I'm fairly new to the concept. I don't know if you could just basically like give a really basic explanation of, I mean, I visited some in Portugal and I have some idea, but like, is it usually like do you pay a membership? Like how is it? The ones I visited were Traditional Dream Factory. I don't know if you know some of these that were specifically built around something like a DAO concept or so. So I know those, but now I'm realizing like it seems like there's so many other types of eco villages. So that would be my question.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. I'm really glad you have visited some in Portugal. I've also visited Traditional Dream Factory, and they're going to be one of the stops on our Portugal trip. So, yeah, like the saying goes, if you have visited one eco village, you've really just visited one eco village because they are all so different. And TDF, Traditional Dream Factory, that's a great example. Like they're very specifically built around the DAO concept, using these online decentralized tools, technology. They're really into that. And you visit another community and they're like, what the heck is a DAO? You know? So it really is diverse. I think some of the unifying factors are places where people are intentionally choosing to live together or regularly sharing facilities on the basis of explicit common values. That's kind of the textbook definition for an intentional community. And an eco-village is just one type of an intentional community. You can also have co-housing communities, housing cooperatives, tiny house villages, homesteading communities, spiritual retreat centers. All of them could be described as intentional communities. Places where people are intentionally choosing to live together on the basis of explicit common values. So usually the way an intentional community gets started is a group of people get together and say, hey, we want to create a community and these are our values. This is our mission, vision statement. They write that down. And then all future members join by buying into that same set of values. And the legal structures look very diverse. Oftentimes, if you're talking about a residential community, there is and should be, honestly, a very clear membership process that the community makes transparent to you on their website. Usually, the first step is going to visit. Second step is spending more time, maybe joining a work party, maybe getting to know more of the members. And then at a certain point, being accepted into the community, which is a mutual thing. Like you agree, like, yes, I want to join. They agree, yes, we want to have you. And that could look like paying a membership fee to join. It could look like I did in my community, buying a piece of land and building my house. It could look like becoming a renter or a member of the housing cooperative if it's structured that way. So yeah, it can look a diversity of different ways, different financial models around it, but generally an eco-village is a type of intentional community that's striving towards sustainability. That's kind of the gist of it. Yeah, but it's a big world and we're trying to categorize and make definitions more clear.
Thank you. That was very helpful, Cynthia.
Awesome. Good. Okay. Yeah, and we have a bunch more hands up. So we'll take just a few more questions here because I see that we have about 15 minutes left in our time. And I want to share with you a bit more information. So we'll go as I see you, Birdie, then Livia, then Renea. I don't think I pronounced these names right, but go ahead, Birdie.
Hi, yeah, it's Bridie, but no worries, I get that a lot. Yeah, a couple of really quick questions. So one was about uh, where we stand on traveling with children to the tours, or if there's any age restrictions, because we've got really little ones. We've got basically like a 3.5-month-old and a 2-year-old. So we won't be looking to go just yet, but maybe quite soon. Um, so we didn't know what the boundaries would be around that. And then also we wondered if there's more tours coming up in Europe as well, because that's particularly where we're interested.
Mm, great. Yeah, that's a wonderful question. So firstly, about other trips happening in Europe. Yes, we will probably be going back to France and back to Portugal around this time next year. So the end of May, June timeframe. So yeah, that'll be coming up and we'll let you know those dates as soon as we have them. And for traveling with children, it is something that we really welcome on our trips because we want to, first of all, support families in making the transition to living in eco-villages. And we really love that feeling of traveling as a village. We have not yet had a bad experience with kids on our trips. Usually it's been a really beautiful thing to see the other participants interacting and helping and supporting. Like all the older people on the trips generally are really delighted to have little ones and like really step up into helping with care and support. But it does depend on the family. So we really, yeah, would kind of speak with you a little bit to make sure it is indeed a good fit because the trips do involve travel, of course, sleeping in different locations, We don't always have laundry at each of the stops. You'll want to plan ahead with that. There can be some longer car rides. So, like thinking about how your child does in the longer car rides, those are things you'll want to think ahead around. Um, I'll share with you my screen now. Because and I'll share the Costa Rica page. We have had families come even on our Costa Rica trip, which is probably our most rugged trip. And we've had children as young as 2 come on that trip. And I'll just scroll down here. On each of the tour pages, we have a section that has all of the trip details. So you'll just look for the trip details section. And then there's a section here around physical requirements and children. So if you're ever unsure for a specific tour, just check out this section because this is where we have a little bit more about that. And yeah, we welcome children of any ages. Um, Children ages 3 and under join for free, and then we have discounted rates for children up to 15 years old. So yeah, I hope that's helpful, and yeah, it's something we welcome, and just you'll want to be prepared for the journey if it's something that you decide to do with you and your family.
Yeah, that is gorgeous. Thank you so much. That's really
Okay,
helpful.
yeah, cool. All right, and Livia, would you like to go next? Oh, I don't think we can hear you.
You hear me now?
Yes, we hear you now.
Okay, great. Yeah, so my question was regarding, I guess, the eco-villages in other countries and kind of like the relationship between, I guess like one kind of like, are they like expats or local residents or kind of a combination, and how do those kind of intersect in like a way that just benefits everybody?
Yes, great question. This is usually a huge topic we discuss as a group during all the tours. Well, certainly the international trips, in regions like Costa Rica, where there's a really big expat community, that is discussed at length. The pros, the cons, the challenges, the opportunities. It does depend a lot on the region. Tends to be that the communities in Europe have less expats, less people from other countries, unless they're larger. Tends to be that Costa Rican communities are almost 100% expats. Not only people from the United States, though, people from around the world. Like some of these bigger eco-villages in Costa Rica, you can find hundreds of different nationalities. So it's kind of cool to see that melting pot. But at the same time, yeah, what's the interaction then with the locals, with the ticos, the people who live there? One of the things I'll say for our Costa Rica trips is we have shifted our model where we are hiring local ticos, like people from Costa Rica, to lead those trips. And they've been really helpful in shaping the conversation around that. Um, because it can be a really beautiful relationship and mutually supportive and doesn't have to feel extractive or leading necessarily to gentrification or any of these negative impacts that we associate sometimes with people moving abroad. It can be like a time of learning and mutual empowerment and financial support all around. So yeah, that's in general what I would say. And obviously, it's a really deep conversation and one that we intentionally have on the trips. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks. Okay, good. And Renea, did you still have a question? Your hand's down. Did it get answered for you?
No, I thought that you needed the time, but basically it's similar to Livia's question. And for example, when I looked into the Costa Rica and I looked at the websites of the different places, I say, well, maybe there's a couple that feels more aligned with me and others that are not. So it's kind of like, like you said, it's really good on one way, just to see how everybody runs their thing, and then at least you get, this is for me, this is not for me. But that kind of like was a little bit what happened, and just thought, wow, this looks like a lot of expats, and I think that I would be so much more into like being, with the people from the country that I go to. So anyway, it was similar to that, and but I get that if you're going to one place, well, you might as well see what's in that area. You cannot be just hopping around, I imagine. But
Mhm.
like if I was let's say like with a little magic wand and said, oh, what would be most perfect for me? It would be like the ones that I have like, okay, permaculture, intergeneration, whatever my check mark is, which by the way, your guide is amazing. Oh, you like this, you don't like that. And then my check mark says, okay, where in the world am I gonna go? So, based on your wants as opposed to on the location, which would be, pretty wild, but that would be like my utmost eco-village tours is like, okay, everything that is more or less of this kind.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you're doing a great job, and I love this, this is Zoom meetings and all that. This we
Uh,
get to know.
yeah, yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah, we've talked a lot about how to design the trips based on interest or thematically, but then it gets complicated with the logistics because then you're like crisscrossing the entire country, whereas you could just focus on one region and cut down the driving, spend more time in the communities, and yeah, get more diversity of exposure, even if you may not think it's like a fit for you. Maybe still there's something to be learned there, or just even like more solidifying, okay, that is not what I want, and this is what I do want. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting reflections. Thank you. Okay, Whitney, I think you might be one of the last ones. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, okay. I can't figure out how to raise my hand virtually, so I'm doing it physically. But first, bravo. Thank you very much. This has been a wonderful presentation. I'm so thrilled to find out all this. And I am a senior and I am interested in finding um communities that are open to seniors. And on these tours, what is that ratio? Because I know some are and some aren't.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. And it does really depend on each tour. So maybe even if you want to like send us a message, I'm interested in these ones. Can you tell me more specifically? I would say though, most of our trips are visiting multi-generational communities.
Mhm.
And so communities that welcome people of all different ages and stages of life. We actually get a fair number of older folks who join our trips. I would say the median age on our trips is people in their 50s and 60s. So for
Well,
whatever reason, maybe they have the time to do this kind of. I feel like we talk to a lot of people who say, oh my gosh, this is something I've thought about my whole life. I even used to live in a community, back a long time ago, and I really feel like it's time for me to do it and make it happen. And so now they're actively exploring eco-villages as options to live. And the needs and considerations are different now, like definitely aging in place, having support, mobility, accessibility to medical facilities. All of that is really important, is a big part of the conversation. So some communities are more well set up for that than others, is the long and short of it. Um, Most of the communities in the United States, like our Vermont tour, any of our communities in Europe, they are, fully Western, in the industrial kind of accessible to city kind of realm. Our trips in India, Costa Rica, Bali, it's a little more rugged. It's a little bit, bumpy roads, a little bit further to get to facilities. So,
mhm, mhm.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, great. And I know we do have more questions, some of them in the chat that I haven't been able to get to. So really encourage you to send us a message. The email address is info@ecovillagetours.com. And I now have multiple people monitoring that email address, so we will be sure to get to your questions there promptly. And I'll share my screen one more time because I just want to share with you the website and help you just get a sense here for the trips and all the information and how to find it. So if you scroll down, I'm just on the home page of ecovillagettours.com. You can see our upcoming trips here in 2025. And then you can see our 2026 trips. And you can see all of the different regions that we have. And when you click on each one, let me, for example, go to the Hawaii trip. And it's actually a fair bit of information on each of these web pages, but you gotta scroll down. And we have here, for example, each of the communities that we visit is listed in kind of this drop-down menu. So you can read about each one. And then, as I mentioned, we have the trip details section, which has information, including the pricing for each of the trips, travel logistics, lodging and meals, weather and packing. We do send out a detailed packing list once you book the trip. So try to support you in getting ready as much as we can. And then more information as well as about our guides. So there's our guide, Katrina. You can read her bio. And this is true for all of the tour pages. And then, of course, the Book Now button is how you place that $500 deposit. And that's the only payment you need to make to lock in a trip and the pricing for that time frame. And as I mentioned, we do have the super early bird
Bye.
trips. Ooh. For our winter trips coming up. That's okay, Whitney. On May 26th. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. We have here, the contact page as well. There's the email address. We have an FAQ page, which is really extensive if you have more questions. And anytime, we're just happy to hop on a call with you and help you make the right decision for yourself. Okay. All right, folks. Well, that was our hour. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your interest and the support. And I hope that we get to travel with you soon. So feel free to be in touch if you have anything more on your mind, any more questions or ideas. But yeah, just wishing you a lot of encouragement, I suppose, on this journey and this path that you're walking. It's a very unique place to be. Yes, most people don't even know what an eco-village is, let alone spending the time to be on an info session about them and considering joining a trip. So just kudos to you, and I hope you never feel alone. Just look around the Zoom room, feel this amazing energy of all the people that are interested in how we can create a more beautiful world. So thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Bye-bye. Take
Thank
care.
you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye, folks. Be well.